Welcome everybody to Inkergalactic Cup 2, the sequel to the critically acclaimed Inkergalactic Cup 1, hosted by IkaSportsTV. My name is Ninehole Grains, and I'm joined by Shiny Hunter Zach, my good friend, and it is bright and early for us, isn't it?
It is incredibly early, but we've done this sort of thing before, and we have teams represented by no less than 11 countries throughout the world. And for this first set, we're going to get immediately into it pretty much. It's going to be SPC, a team no stranger to Western tournaments and their teams, and they're going to be taking on Infinitas. So pretty much everyone is ready. We're going to be starting off on tower control on Moray Tower, so immediately we're going to be getting into some very, very fast-paced action.
Absolutely, and it's worth noting Infinitas is a team from Hong Kong. Zach mentioned we have 11 countries. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but Infinitas, I have been informed, played Splatoon 1. Their members all played Splatoon 1, so they are no stranger to competitive play. We'll see how that starts, because like you said, this is a very fast-paced map and a great way to start this tournament.
And then SPC, of course, you might remember them from the Inkstorm series. They've placed 3rd and 7th, respectively, tied for 7th, so I'm excited to see what they can do today. They are going to be running that double splatter shot composition that has been so popular pretty recently. This weapon in general has been so nice. A lot of people have been running the Inksaber sub, or the Inksaber sub perk with it, just because you can throw so many burst bombs off with that instant detonation. It can help so much with map control or just getting free damage off. And then the Brella to go along with that. The Brella has the extra added tool of being able to pop a little bit of a shield. We're seeing the splatter shot in action now. Unfortunately, in a 2v1, usually you're not going to be coming out of that alive.
And you mentioned the popularity. The Brella, let's talk about the Brella. The Brella has been unreal so far since these most recent buffs. Some people have even called for a nerf. Very strong. The Inkstorm has been the flavor of the month in terms of specials, so I'm glad that we'll be seeing it here and not all surprise. But the Stingray coming out here very early, the custom range blaster, of course, having that really gives the custom range blaster a lot more options than it had in its vanilla variant here. See this first push, a solid defense here, but it does look like they're starting to lose this side. If they lose this too quick, this is how big pushes start.
Yeah, and you talk about specials. We've been seeing a very, very diverse meta. We've seen things like the Stingray be very, very popular with that extra added range on the sides. Once you're caught in just 1 or 2 of those shots, it can be so difficult to get out. And then the Inkstorm, of course, so many good weapons have been introduced that have that Inkstorm as the special. It's good on pretty much every objective just because you're getting that free passive map control. So I'm not surprised to see it brought out here. The Brella is basically a farm for it with the sprinklers to sub. So you're going to be building that thing up so quickly. And with the large surface area on this map to build up passive ink control on, it's such a nice special to have. But right now we're seeing a 3-down situation forced by SPC. The last one's going to go down there at the hands of Mobu, so a fantastic job by them there. They have the lead by a couple of points. 77, of course, not a very solid lead to be holding on to, but they have plenty of time to still get it going, and the tower looks to be moving in the right direction.
A great snipe there by Owl. If Mobu had gotten up too much further, that would have made a very, very difficult defense, even just getting back down here to stop this tower. But they're actually going to stop it before it even gets past that first checkpoint, and that is so crucial, because once you get past that first checkpoint, it is a race to the next checkpoint, and from then on it becomes very easy to get a knockout all the way down into the teens, or maybe even down to the single digits. So good job here. Now we're going to be riding the tower with Stingray, a very popular tactic, and suddenly this is starting to look like it's going the other way, as it is Infinitas coming out into the lead here with just over 2 minutes left to play.
Yeah, beautiful patience by Infinitas as well. They started building up map control in mid way before they thought about pushing the tower. Now that they have it in mid, there's no way for SPC to get down unless they go one step at a time, the same way Infinitas did. Now they've gotten all the way up to that second checkpoint, cleared it at 44, and now it's going to take a little bit of hard work and patience from SPC. They're staying back, getting the stragglers that are popped up in the upper streets here, and that's the difference between this map and a lot of other maps, is that it continues to go up with those streets as you go along. So you can see a lot of people sharking on those walls. You can see a lot of people waiting on the different streets, and there's a lot of ways to get up to those higher elevations, so you constantly have to be checking behind your shoulder. But Hinoka here going to be sitting around to the side here with that Stingray, waiting to pop it at the right time. SPC starting to finally get some map control back, and there's still plenty of time left here as they have 2 specials to contend with.
2 specials to contend with. They're putting some pressure up here on Snipe, which is what they need to do, but maybe done a little bit not able to get anything off of that, and a splatter shot, an important member going down, another one going down. That was the Stingray user there with that custom range blaster. So, I'm sorry, custom jet squelcher, that's not in the game yet. But taking it down right there, it's so important that your frontal members stay alive and make progress and put pressure on the snipe, because like you've said, you can pick off the stragglers as they try to come up those different levels, and at this point to make the push, they're going to need to get up those different levels. I like him up here on this left side, gonna take out the umbrella, that's important, gets a double, will he be able to get the sniper as well? Splashdown goes down, some burst bombs coming out, but great defensive bomb there by CWL, who's going to try to run away from this Ink Storm, and they're going to get pincered by the umbrella. This is what our SPC has been looking for.
Yeah, SPC with 2 specials at the ready now. They're going to lose their Umbrella player, but they have all the map control that they need, easily clearing through that first checkpoint, and now they're going to have a great shot to reclaim the lead here. MTL going to be staying on the tower, though. They're holding it down for Infinitas, but they get backed into a corner trying to escape, and they're not going to make it out as Mobu has that laser vision and is going to melt them down. But you can see they're all bunched up over by the tower. If one of them dies and one of them stays on the tower, they'll still be able to jump back, and that is the lead, so we're going to be continuing on forward. I'm not sure that Infinitas will even have time to get back on the tower. Only a few seconds remain, and that should do it. SPC showing a lot of patience and a lot of grit. They're able to come back, get that back in mid, build up their specials, and more importantly, save them for that final tower push. So because of that, SPC going to take game 1 here on Moray Towers.
And that's so heartbreaking if you are Infinitas. They had done such a good job that entire game. They played good defense, but right near the very end, they went a couple down, and then they started funneling in off that overlook and got taken out in that way. And in that situation, your hand is sort of forced because you don't really have a choice. You have to go and make that shot, and you have to get 1 or 2 down, and you have to get on the tower. But with a team like SPC, they're going to position themselves around to punish. Even if one does go down, like you said, they can get back on tower, they can jump back in and keep that pressure on. But a very good showing from Infinitas here in the early stages.
Yeah, I liked what I saw a lot from them. I think they should be able to put up a good fight. I'm not confident that this one is going to be a sweep at all. And this is, I believe, a best of 5. So one loss isn't nearly as devastating in this scenario as in a best of 3, but still here, I think Infinitas searching for a little bit of answers as to why the end of the game happened there. Of course, games can be very, very different based on that 5-minute time limit. Sometimes you only have barely enough time to regain the lead or put up that final defense. So I think Infinitas with a good chance to progress forward here. We move on to a very different map and mode combination here. It's going to be Splat Zones on Starfish main stage. This is one that you definitely either love or you hate. The middle part of the map is very, very wide open. There's only a few obstacles in terms of the speakers, and you have those large buildings on the left and right-hand sides where the flanks happen. The flanks are very obvious, but if you're not paying attention to them, you can easily get wiped, and if you give the enemy team map control, this is definitely a map where you can get locked in your spawn very, very easily.
It is, and the teams that do well on this maps are the ones that are able to build their special even when back in their zone, because specials take this zone so quickly. Any special that you can think of can probably take this. Even Stingray. I've heard that Stingray can take this zone. Haven't seen it for myself, but I've heard that it can be done. So I'm really interested to see how teams are able to put pressure on the other team, because if you let them sit back too much, they're going to build up their specials, they're going to be able to force their way back in, and like you said, if you're contending with the specials, those flanks that seem obvious suddenly become not so obvious.
Both teams very confident in their weapon loadouts here. I'm only seeing one distinct difference from that first game, and that is that we're going to be seeing a nozzle nose come out from SPC here. It is going to be that baller that we saw a ton in the 1.3.0 meta. The baller already out. It's going to just ensure that that zone gets back from the hands of Infinitas, and now SPC going to try down here. Of course, when you get that zone, you really want to push as far forward as you can so that the enemy team cannot get out. You can see that they've already built up an Inkstorm here. That's going to give them at least some way to get back in front of the zone in that sort of moat-like area. A trade there as we see the sniper and the splatter shot duel it out. The Brella going to push forward while covered in that ink armor. Of course, SPC not going to have an ink armor to use of their own, so they're going to have to make as good a use of that NZAP special as they possibly can. Right now, it seems like they didn't get too many team fights out of it, so they are going to finally start to get some ink on the zone, but again, SPC putting up such a good defense. They'll force another 2-down situation, and they have that Stingray at the ready from the custom jet squelcher.
Just too much pressure coming out here from Mobu. I mean, it seems like every time the push is led by Mobu up there, that happened in that first game Mobile was the one that was putting on the pressure there with that splatter shot, and we're seeing it here again, this aggressive sort of defense. Now here we're going to see, like you said, this ends up very close to the arm. Going to come out now. This is going to be their last-ditch attempt. Not going to be able to get anybody, though. I don't know if this Inkstorm's going to be enough either. They have it covered up, and a very different Game 2 than Game 1. SPC showing their prowess over multiple modes.
Yeah, and I think the Ink Armor was too little too late. The zone ticks down so fast, and SPC really had a nice comp for that map and mode combination. We had the baller changeover. That really passed both deadly in terms of aggression and deadly in terms of taking over the zone special. That was activated within the first 23 seconds of the game, so that just ensured that they took the zone. And then as you talked about, Mobu just pushing forward here, their short-range aggressive weapons really playing to their strengths here, able to get important picks on players like the sniper that might have had an impact from far away. Everybody else could not get into the zone. They could hardly build up their specials. They only had one last attempt, and they kind of trickled into it as well, and they were forced to. The time was not on their side, so a very different game, as you mentioned there, a much shorter map, and that's going to provide SPC with that win.
And I think in that situation, I would like to see Infinitas early on, if you can tell that you've been pushed back into your spawn, to just all stay back there, build up your specials, and use your specials to move back up into the zone, rather than using your specials in the zone. And that may seem counterintuitive, but if you just funnel into the zone using your specials like they had to there at the very end, what can happen is the other team knows it's coming and they have a chance to set themselves up.